Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is bookish artist Mandy here, and I am coming with you with another episode I say that loosely, with this kind of idea of don't try this at home if you think that your pens are precious, because you will have messes, you will have broken fingers, yeah, no, not broken fingers, but maybe hurt fingers, and you may have broken pen parts. It just is what it is. However, it does work. At least so far it has worked, and I am excited. So I'm going to do a little bit of nib swapping on one of my pens, and then I want to do some swatching because I've had some of these colors here that I haven't swatched in a while, and I also want to try out this new notebook. This is the Colorverse Nebula that I grabbed off of Amazon just because I wanted to try it out. And it's from Colorverse. Did I say that? I think I said that already. But it says it's ink-proof paper and it's detachable paper. So I thought this would be really nice to have scratch paper. But I do want to grab like one of my boards with the, what do you call it, the grid, so I can actually have some grid going on in the background, and also just to protect it just in case it bleeds. I don't know, it says it's supposed to be ink proof, and it is by Colorverse, so hopefully, but it does have, and it doesn't show up on camera even when I pull it, it has more of a tooth texture than most paper that I'm used to for fountain pens. But sometimes I like that because then I can maybe use my colored pencils. And I have a couple colored pencils here that I have been using today, so that would be fun to try. So without further ado, here we go. So this is my B6 pencil board. This one's a little bit heavier and thicker and kind of squishy. So I'm going to put that under here. It's not completely the right size, but for the purposes, I just want some grid lines so I can kind of stay not like, because what happens because I'm left-handed is I slant either up or down, and it drives me crazy. So I'm going to move it this way. But we're going to test that paper here in a little bit. I'm having a rough time lately. I mentioned in my last video that I did that we got some devastating news last week, and I'm doing okay today. My father, he's been sick a really long time. He's had a lot of health issues, but he was really sick. He's been really sick these last few months, and last week, we got the devastating news that he has lung cancer in both of his lungs, and it has moved into his lymph nodes, so it's been there a long time, and his lymph nodes are necrotic, and he is not eating a lot, so we just don't know what the time frame is, but it's probably something that's not treatable. We don't know anything more than he has lung cancer, and my dad's almost 80, so it's just a lot of just feelings and everything. So we're just trying to take as much time with the family and be with my family, and I am handling it a lot better than I have in the past. But I just want to let people know, because my videos might be a little bit more sporadic these next couple months, or yeah, I don't know how long, but I just wanted to let people know that's what's going on. And yeah, so I'm just kind of feeling all over the place, which is completely normal for humans to do in this case. So I want to play with my pens because my pens bring me great joy. And I pulled out some of my Kawecos. I've been really into my Kaweco Sports lately, and I already did it with one. And I switched out the nib here to in one of my videos from like a couple months ago, I showed these calligraphy nibs that are 0.7, 0.5, all the way up to, I forget what it is. I think it's 1.9. I can't remember, but I've kept the link in my description. They are off Amazon. You get something around 30 nibs for something about $10, so you get to play with it. They also come with feeds. However, I discovered that these feeds, this one, I don't know what feed it is, but it is a random feed, and I only had one of them, so it's not the same. But I figured out a solution for these using where is it? I just had it, and then I put it away because I already have one in there. I was testing things out before I started filming instead of messing up on film. See, now this might be, I think this is a size 6 feed. Because this is something I just randomly got. Yeah, this is a size 6 feed. So that's, yeah, that's why that looks different. Okay, that's fine. That's not what I was looking for anyway. It was just on top of it. This O-ring kit. An O-ring. So there is, I did put it back just to show you, but there is an O-ring in there. It is now stuck. It is not coming out, which is fine because I absolutely hate the 2.2 Kaweco nib. Absolutely hate it. It is, I got this to use it with the highlighter Kaweco ink, and I just don't like it. It never, even when you're doing just a little bit of pressure, it just cannot keep up with the ink, and I just don't like it. So I have to pull this feed out. The reason why this, so I'm going to explain why the feed is important. Kaweco's nibs are shorter than most nibs. So if you look here, the Kaweco nib is on top, and you can see that. So I was having troubles because I tried to just shove this at one point, shove this in, because what I usually do when I switch nibs is I line them up just like so, and then I hold them here and I push them in. The problem is that with the Kaweco feed, this will not go in. And I didn't want to break my Kawecos because I really like the size of it. Just hate the nib and the feed sometimes. I've got some of them working really well, but just I do not like this. I thought I would. And so I have, out of my kit, I have a 0.5, if you can see. This is a stub calligraphy nib in a 0.5. So this is smaller. So this is like a medium. So think of your like journaler nib that is ground down, like the Gina Celerino journaler nib is a 0.5, because medium nibs are 0.5. So this is like your small stub. So I've stuck that O-ring in here because, so this is the Kaweco feed. And let's find it. Where is it? Here's the Kaweco feed. And then here is just the feed that the random feed that I have in the description. This one is slightly smaller, shorter than the Kaweco one, if you see, but it has a longer little thingy. I don't know what you call this part, but this is what goes into, if you look on here, there's a little hole. So it's what goes in to that little hole to connect to the cartridge or converter. So that O-ring is in there, and I'll show you with this extra O-ring. I'm not going to shove it in there, but with this extra O-ring, and this is what I did, but then it didn't come out. So it's in there, which is fine because I'm not going to take this. I love these calligraphy nibs. I don't show them as often because they're my cheap gin house, but I love these nibs. They are so wet and beautiful. But then you see it adds just a little bit of space to that. I have not tested the pen. I'm a little nervous about the flow, but I can fix that too. But then you see, it makes it the right size. And the reason I had this idea to do this is because there are a couple of my Azvine pens that did this for some of the nibs. So it's something that other companies have tried. So why not try to jimmy rig these things yourself, right? Because you can. It's your pen if you want to. The only thing is, so why I said, had the warning is that I don't know how to get this O-ring out of here. I'm sure there is a way, but I had my little, where did it go? I had my little like needle nose pliers and I could not get it out. So I don't know if somebody has an idea to how to get an O-ring out. Please let me know. But otherwise, I'm okay that it's not, because I'm going to just keep this in there. And this will be my green Kaweco. So this goes here. So then you line that up. If you can see, I'm going to line that up. And then you take this, and I like to put it back on here. And because that O-ring's in there, it's going to fit really nicely and snug. And then, you see that? It's on there. It is on and it fits right. And you can see that it's 0.5. And that's it. So this one, because the feed, I don't know where this feed came from, because I'll tell you, I buy these random things and buy random pens. So I don't know, these feeds are different. If I can get it to zoom in closer, if you can see, there we go. This feed is just a little bit different. So, but this one is writing just fine. I tested it. Let me pull out my notebook and I'll show you. Because I threw one of my I threw one of my random like blue cartridges in it just to try it out to make sure it works. But it does, and it is, so this is a 0.7, so I'm gonna have a 0.7 stub and a 0.5, and this makes me really happy. But that stub, I just love the stub so much. I kind of zoomed in here a little bit so you can see this better, but there's that stub. And the stub is just that, you know, you get the larger downstrokes and the, you know, lighter upstrokes. So, oh, my pen is being a punk. Dip it in the water, just keep it going. It was working just fine. See, that's what happens. You get on camera and you're like, oh, psych, it doesn't work. 1 second, we'll shake this up. Since I did try to jimmy rig a converter too, but that was a mess, and don't recommend. I had these like converters that were supposed to work for Kawecos and weren't. So I tried to make a Franken converter, and it didn't work. But luckily, I just messed with the cartridge, so I wasn't really breaking anything. I just was playing with things, which is fine. I'm just trying to squeeze a little bit of this. I always have troubles with my Kawecos and getting them started, even in the regular Kawecos. There we go. But I had this one. I thought maybe I didn't. There we go. But I wanted to show you, for those of you who didn't watch my first video, because this was doing this to a Jinhao 82, you can add these nibs. And that one is just pulling it out and putting it in, not having to use an O-ring or anything. Or an extra, or a different feed. You can use the Jinhao feed right there. But yeah, so you get those nice lines. So I love the way this looks. My favorite pen nib is my mini stub. And so I was looking for other ways to get smaller stubs, because the 1.1 stub is just a little bit too big for me, but I love the way it looks. And yeah, I don't know, I can't describe it, but it makes me happy, because like my mini stub right here, so it's a mini stub is the Esther Brooks stub that is ground down from a fine, and so you don't get as much, but you do get a little bit, and I just love the way it looks and feels. It's just a little bit different, and I just like it. I don't know, I can't describe why I like it, but I know a lot of other people like those stubs too. So that is that one. So I want to test this, and let me see here. How am I going to do this first? Okay, yes, I know. So I have all my, oops, 1 second. That's better. So I have all my greens here that I did a, what do you call it? An ink swatch with it. And so I loved a lot of these greens, and I haven't used all of them. I wanted to use Book of Botany. There it is. There it is. And so what I'm going to do, and especially because I know that it's important to prime this when you're using Kawecos, because it's a pain in the tushy. Where did I put, goodness gracious. See, this is where, you know, this is distraction from sadness, and that's when I get crazy. 1 second here. I am going to sneeze. Man, it's been a rough few days. I have been, you know, emotional, and I'm losing my voice. If you can't tell, my voice is not always this husky, but do they call that vocal fry? I think that's what they call it. So there's Book of Botany in there. I didn't fill it all the way because cartridges and Kawecos last forever, I feel like. And now I'm gonna dip this. So what's gonna happen is then, I don't know why it works, but it's like something with like both of them are wet. I am not a genius when it comes to this stuff. Like, I have ruined many a pen, and you know, they're my pens. So, all right, this is Ferris Wheel Press. Book of Botany. And I wanted to use this because I really liked the, what do you call it, the swatch, and I wanted to see how it looked in a pen, you know, writing, and if I liked it, how much I liked it. And I'm worried though that this is gonna stop working. I'm really nervous about this O-ring being down there. So let's see if I shake this. I don't remember Book of Botany being that light. Maybe it is. As I'm off the table, or as I'm off the camera. I'm off the camera a lot right now. Oh, hey, look at that. It works. So I'm going to call this my Franken Kaweco because, one, it's green. I think this is the, gosh, what is this one? I don't remember. But it's one of the frosted. Is it kiwi? I'm not sure. But this is now my Franken Kaweco with a 0.5 stub. And look at how pretty it is. Okay, that Book of Botany is really gorgeous. Ooh, I love that. I am really into the less saturated greens. I don't know how to describe it more. Like they're not as bright and vibrant, but they're still green, or like, so grayer greens, or, you know, just really soft greens, not like your in your face green, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's that. Yes, so I could end the video here if I was just showing you this, but because this is just me playing this afternoon, I'm going to do some more, because why not? Because I said we were going to test this paper. And so I was watching on Saturday, and it already arrived. I was watching Micah Oakley's video, like always, because every time her video pops up, it makes me happy. And she did my ink swap with her in it. But she had ordered this afternoon tea. It already arrived today, this morning. So I was really excited. I literally bought this on Saturday. I was like, oh, I want to try that. Yeah, I'm a nerd. And I really love, I'm kind of the same. And I think that's why I feel so much love for Micah's videos. And she's got so many great journaling ideas that I really feel so inspired to just get in my journal and do random stuff. But she had just bought this tea time ink, and I was like, oh, I want that too, because it reminds me of all my favorite ochres. And yeah, that's beautiful. I don't know what that would be similar to. Maybe like Diamine's Autumn, oh my gosh, Ancient Copper. It's really similar to Ancient Copper, but it's almost a little bit more orange leaning. Maybe I will have to, not right now, I will have to do a ink sample. But I'm trying to decide, should I put it in this one or this one? I haven't busted either of these out in a while. This one's a bold, double broad. And this one is a fine. I think, you know what? I think I got to put it in the Fox, because the double broad is really going to show some of those things. Yeah. By the way, Micah, if you watch this, this has that same smell as the Kobe ink does. And it's like a weird, so some inks, as we have discovered in this world of inks, and when you're not getting things as much, or when you discover it, some inks have like more of this, like, it's kind of like smells like a stale mop. I don't know, but it's just the chemicals or the dyes they use. And this one, and then my Goshiyama Ochre by Kobe 54. She let me know that hers had a smell, and I was like, oh, I can't smell it all the way from here, but I also can't smell much right now because I've been, you know, crying tears of all that tears. I am somebody who handles pain with humor, so just ignore me. But my nose is stuffed, so I can't really smell it. But yes, my ochre has the same similar smell, and so yeah, she was worried that the bottle went bad. It is not. It's just that you have to deal with that chemical smell, and it's not fun. So before I do that, I'm just going to shake this because that is a really good match. I'm really curious about this paper. Like, it does have tooth to it, which is really an interesting thing. Oh, excuse me. I just messed up my whole paper with, got some, but that's okay. 1 second here. Okay, so, oh yeah. I really like this. This is Sailor, is it Sailor Tea Time Afternoon Tea. And it really does match my fox color. I haven't used this pen in so long, and it was one of my absolute favorites that I got. I went through a Kaweco. I went kind of nuts because I had some extra Christmas money last year or the year before. I had some extra money and funds, so I bought way too many Kaweco Sports. Like, I have so many now, and because I was getting them on sale everywhere, so it was like $20 for all these different sports. And so I think I bought like a lot of them because I hauled a good Christmas, good Christmas money. So I had them, and so because I went through a phase where I was like, I hate those pens, and so then I kind of threw them in a box. And the other week I was thinking about trying them out again, just to see. Yeah, this one's empty. These are the last ones that I had in my box, just to see. Like, I was like, why don't I pull these out? I've been really enjoying them. It was after my Hello Kitty one because I wanted the Hello Kitty ones just for fun. So yeah, I wanted to try this. I'm just testing out this paper here. So it doesn't bleed. That's really nice. So I wonder if there's Book of Botany in here. So my big test, so I haven't done my video yet, and I am going to. My big test is, how does it work when I am drawing with it? Would this be a nice, like, they have these, I bought this with the cardboard that tear away. I generally don't like this binding, the wire binding, and I generally don't like tear away pages because I don't want to tear away my pages. I like the threaded binding because this is where, you make mistakes and you have bad pages and you have ugly, but this is bright white paper, which I kind of like for my sketchbooks sometimes. But if this works really great with ink, I bet you I'm going to test it with watercolor while we're on here, because maybe this would be a nice sketchbook option for me when I am done with my sketchbook, because I like that tooth. The real question is, can I layer? So that was a long way of saying, can I layer? So I've been doing these different layering drawings, and oh, my dogs are barking. 1 second, on the pause. Okay, they showed them who's boss. Man, I would hate to be somebody who is attacking my house with my scary, vicious dogs. Okay, I have Tom's Studio Golden Luster in here. So what I was trying to talk about is that I've been doing this negative space layering with my fountain pens. So I just want to try this out and see, because on my Leuchtturm paper, and what's the other paper that I've been using? The Midori paper. There we go. I can do quite a few layers, and that's been really fun to play with. And so I'm not going to pull out my Midori, but I do have my Leuchtturm little sketchbook here that I have been working in. It was right behind me because I pulled my thingy out of it, the board. Is that what you call it? But what's been really fun, and I am working on a tutorial, but I laid down, these are all the colors that I used on this page. But what I did is I sketched out what I wanted, and then I laid down all the color, and then I can layer up. And it looks so cool. I just love the way it looks. It is very, it's weird, and I did it here too. But I can't describe how it looks. I just love the way it almost looks like video game cells. And this isn't. I was playing with, what was I playing with here? I was playing with the butterscotch. So if you recognize my stickers, there's my sticker sketches. And these actually became stickers. We can talk about that later because I don't have them up. But I was playing with lettering. Do I have any more? Nope, that's all colored pencil. Or that's colored pencil. That's colored pencil. That's just one color. But okay, so I'm playing, so yeah, it's just those two. Just those two in here so far, but I have them in other notebooks too. I just love this page. And it's really fun to add, what do you call it? Shimmers. What do you call it? Yeah, my brain isn't fully functioning completely, so please bear with me. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this, I really appreciate you. You guys are keeping me sane. But yeah, I lay down the lightest color and then you build with darker colors. So now I laid it down here, but the really key thing, and I will talk about it again when I do my other video, the really key thing is to make sure it is dry, and that is dry. So then what I would do is I will go through it like negative space wise. And if it's not dry, what tends to happen is that it will bleed and feather. And some papers do just feather, period. So I'm just kind of going in here with another layer and seeing how it works. Because it's really a fun way to play with the pens. It was just something I experimented with after I was watching a video just reminding myself of different watercolor techniques, and negative space drawing and negative space painting is a really, really big watercolor technique. So then I would go in here with this green, and it's just been really fun to get different effects with my pens. I've been playing a lot with my pens this way. It means I have a lot of pens inked when I wanted less pens inked this month, but that's okay. I've done a lot of, that's why I busted out my Kawecos, is because I can take them. They're really nice. They're really small to travel with, but also with the converters especially, they don't hold as much ink. So then I'm not wasting ink when I'm doing this because I only have so many pens inked then. But you know, when you do it in here, you can get some really cool greens. I will say that I am finding that I don't love when the ink has shimmer as much when in these, but this one does have a shimmer and it works pretty well. So I mean, especially because it's a yellow, but it makes some of those inks that you have that don't always work in other pens, it makes them work really great. So then this is dry now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it. Can I do another layer? And what I am finding is that as long as you let your ink dry on most of these papers, you don't have bleeding, you don't have pilling, you don't have feathering. And so I want to see, but this one, see that is bleeding. So that's good to know, but it's still, I wonder how this would handle water. So I'm going to try watercolor here in a second. But I do like the tooth on the paper because I love to work also in colored pencil, or what Canadians call it. I don't know if other people do, what other places call them, but my friend Kate is in Canada and she calls these pencil crayons. And ever since I've taken her courses, I now sometimes find myself calling them pencil crayons rather than colored pencil because I like the word pencil crayon. So I am just gonna see. Yeah, this is nice I love being able to get some of that texture especially when I'm working with colored pencil. And this has some texture. So, and it doesn't, does it bleed and feather? Let's look. That's a double broad. So it doesn't really feather or bleed, which is really nice. And this Aftertime Tea is a really wet ink that I'm finding so far. But what I love is when you have tooth in paper, your pencils blend and shade in such a different way that you get this really nice texture that you don't get on smoother papers. And so it just makes working in my pencil crayons just so much more fun. And they're one of my favorite things. I have the really good ones. Like Derwent Lightfast are some of the best ones. They're the most expensive, but I invested in these. Like I spent a long time collecting my colored pencils. I really invested in my colored pencils, and they are expensive, especially when you think about, like, it doesn't take me long to go through a pencil. Like it's a lot different than a fountain pen where you have the ink forever. These don't last me that long. I've had to replace many of my Luminance, my Caran d'Ache Luminance colored pencils, but they are my favorites. Like the Derwent Lightfast and the Caran d'Ache Luminance. Caran d'Ache Luminance are my top fave, but those are what I've been using. I just used these 3 colors in a spread, and I can show you the difference here because it's sitting right here. This gives you a little bit more texture than say in this. And yeah, so that's why I love doing spreads like this where you just doodle, and I've needed it. I need to just doodle right now. How I'm feeling is to doodle. And so what I've done in the past, and even on this one, is I pick 3 colors randomly. I just grab 3 colors and I use them on a whole spread and just doodle. Sometimes I'll go through Pinterest and kind of pull some inspiration and styles to try, or just like, oh yeah, let's draw a lamp. Oh yeah, let's draw this. Let's do this. And just doodling. So yeah, or I find lettering, just playing with lettering and play, like this is just play. This is just, so that's what I do. So, but you can see where this is very smooth and matte. Like there's no shading. Even when you shade, the shading doesn't work as well. Where you can get when you get that tooth, you get that texture, and it looks, let me pull it up farther. It looks a lot different, like texture wise, and it just adds, I love the way that always looks for my colored pencil work. So there you go. Also, I said pencil crayon and colored pencil, but I do love, this is another page that I'm working on. I'm actually working on this right now, and these are 3 colors, same time, doodle time is me time. See, that's how I'm feeling. These are in, not ink, or they are in ink. These are in fountain pen ink, and using my fountain pens. So I am doing it in fountain pen as well, but sometimes I just want to pull out a different medium than fountain pens, but I've been really loving my fountain pens. But yeah, okay, so as you can see, this bled, so I can't do my technique on this paper. It's not meant for that. That's fine. It's just fountain pen friendly paper, which means that if you have, like, you know, because look right here where I did my swatch, it's not doing that. But I wonder too, I didn't completely let this dry, so I wonder if I actually let it dry, if it would work better. I'll keep experimenting and I'll get back to you in another video, but I do want to test out watercolor really quick, so I'm going to grab that. Okay, this is the palette I've been using lately because it travels so well, but I don't have the original colors in here. This is the colors that I came up with myself. So they're just some really interesting colors that make some really interesting mixes, but I just want to spray a little bit. I haven't used this in a while, like in a week or so, so they're completely dry finally. And I have my Winsor & Newton paintbrush. That's why I love this little palette. It comes with this paintbrush that's just a little guy for traveling. So yeah, I'm working on all my travel stuff, if I still travel. I don't know what the plan is, because if my dad declines even more, we won't be traveling in the next couple weeks, but I am hoping that we have him for a while, but we don't know. So I am not making any plans, but we've had the San Diego trip planned for a while, so hopefully we get to go. If not, we do have travel insurance and we'll get to go at a later date. But my kids are really excited, and I think it'd be good for them to have a nice little vacation with their other grandparents, and yeah, just get away from the stress of everything that's going on. And actually, it handles watercolor really well. So it's fountain pen friendly. It's watercolor friendly. Yeah, I might have another option for a sketchbook that is fountain pen friendly, because some of my sketchbooks aren't the friendliest fountain pens, and I have been loving sketching with fountain pens and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just going to try to add just a little bit more wetness and see how it handles it and see if it dries. It does feel like it has a little bit of a coating, which, you know, makes sense for fountain pen friendly paper, but I like to be able to do mixed media, and so it can take some water. I am adding quite a bit of water here, and it's not pilling, so that's awesome. So it can handle water, ink. So if you throw your swatch of ink, and did it bleed through? I've never really had that happen with watercolor, and it did not. It will probably what do you call it, crinkle and puff up and warp, but yeah, so it does handle watercolor. I'm not going to do anything fancy with the watercolor, but that's really great. One other thing that I want to try, since I have it right here, is one of my brush pens, and I have my Ecoline because I've been playing with those too. Oh yeah, see, look at that. And they're very similar to my Tombos. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So Colorverse did really do something great with their, you know, their paper. It is a different texture, which if you like that texture, that's really good. Like, it is that more, it's 90 GSM, so it is thin-ish. It's going to be a little bit thicker than Leuchtturm, but because Leuchtturm is 80, it's thicker than Tomoe River, but it's also thinner than what I pulled out with my other sketchbook, is my Archer and Olive, and that paper is 160 GSM. So it's this paper is very thick, but it's very smooth, and I really love the thickness of this and the smoothness. I do love the smoothness, but when I'm doing certain things, it's just not always my favorite. Like with color pencil, I do like it, but it's not my favorite for color pencil. And sometimes watercolor isn't the greatest either in it. There's watercolor right there. It's not my favorite, but I do love these. These are some of my favorite, the Archer and Olive sketchbooks. They're big, they're fun. They're a little bit pricier, but they last forever because there's 160 pages. So this takes me months to get through, where a lot of my other ones take me like a month or two. And so, yeah. And I'm really enjoying this. Yeah. And these are working so great. Yeah. So I am very excited to have a little bit of an experiment that works. So this is also, I'm really surprised at myself. I don't know what they call the standard blue cartridge in the Kaweco's line. It's probably just, you know, standard blue. But I am really enjoying it. I've never actually used the cartridge. I'm not really a blue person, honestly. I like more teal leaning blues usually, or like the really light, beautiful, like princessy blues. So these usually just get thrown into a drawer, and I never use them. But I'm trying to convince myself. When I found out that the Banu ones are Oxford blue from Diamine, I was like, you know, you should try the blue cartridges give yourself a test and see how you like them. And I'm surprised that I like them so much, because I've never really been into blue ink, but sometimes it's just nice. I'm discovering sometimes it's really nice to just throw in a cartridge. And so I'm trying different cartridges and seeing what I like, and I've mentioned that in a couple of videos, but just, you can laugh at me if you find this interesting. I laugh at myself because I grew up stubborn, and I think that's partially how I was raised. My way is the best way. Your opinion is stupid. You know, that's kind of some of the way that I felt. So, you know, as somebody who is getting out of that and experimenting with things, like when I was young, thought the Studio Ghibli Miyazaki films were the ugliest thing I'd ever seen. I hated the art style, and Princess Mononoke looked stupid, and I fell asleep during it, so I will never like any of the Studio Ghibli movies, and I refused to watch them because I hated the art. And when a few years ago, I finally watched one. I watched My Neighbor Totoro. I was like, why did you wait so long? You stinking, dumb, stubborn girl. Like, why? I actually said that to myself. I probably shouldn't have called myself stupid, but I was feeling like, oh my gosh, young Mandy was so stubborn and so just opinionated, and nobody else could have an opinion. Like, I think I hurt some of my friends' feelings quite often with my opinionated ridiculousness, and because you couldn't convince me. Like, once I had my mind made up, you couldn't convince me. So I am really trying to get out of that habit and actually try things, because you discover things that you like. And that's why I think tinkering with my pens is so much fun, because it's like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. Well, it's my pen. I can do what I want. So it's been a lot of fun. And see, like, I love this. It gives you just that nice, I don't know, that nice little variation in your lines without having to do anything fancy. That's why I love stubs, and I love them in the smaller sizes, because then you can, you know, write smaller and still read it. There's my name. You know, it's just something that I have been enjoying. So there's that. I hate this page, so this is really fun. Aha! I could have just torn it out that way, but that's the one thing I do like about Wire, is that I don't like this page. This is a mess. I'm gonna throw it away, but it is nice to see that it handles watercolor really well. So this is, yeah, this Nebula paper. I don't know that it's going to replace anything else that I have, but it's not bad. It's 120 pages. I think I paid $15 for this. So really, for fountain pen friendly paper, you know, you can get really cheap paper. And I know that there's some people, I think Seaweed Kisses here on YouTube does a lot of cheap Walmart paper. I am a premium girl. I'm in these notebooks every single day. Like, I'm constantly in my notebooks. So I want good stuff, because this is my hobby. This is what I do. This is what I love, is art and pens and notebooks. So I want my notebooks to be really good quality, because they do stay with me. For my, like, not so great quality, I get these the ones that I just kind of throw things in. It's the soft ring, the Kokuyo soft ring, and these ones I think $8. But so they're not that bad, but like these ones I don't always love using for anything besides just messes. So this is where all my messy notes and stuff are. I was playing with my pens last night, my Ecoline, and then I have some, I forget what brand this is. I'll have to pull them out. This I know, this Payne's Gray I know is the Winsor & Newton. It's the only Winsor & Newton marker I have, but I think, gosh, I forget which brand that is, but yeah, I just play in here and don't care what anything looks like, just messing around. So I think a lot of like figuring out what I like, what I want, yeah, or you know, I did that. So I'm practicing lettering. I've been watching a lot of people. I think some of the people have been suggested. Ella Nim, Aaron Ware are a couple that come to mind that do really cool lettering. And there's a couple people on Instagram that do really cool lettering. So I've been trying to get better at my lettering. And so that's what I've been focusing on a lot. I really love how these letters look, but I have practiced these letters so much, and I haven't practiced these kind of letters, like the big blocky letters. I took one lettering course on Domestica, and so I really enjoyed that. I can't remember who the teacher was because Domestica courses are so short. I've taken a lot of them, but if I remember, I will share. But anyway, that is just me rambling because it's very cathartic for me to sometimes ramble in these videos. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that I have this creative outlet that I can share some of the things that I'm working on and experimenting with. I mean, buying ink that I didn't need because I just needed a serotonin dopamine hit boost, and it looked pretty. And the nice thing about Sailor inks is, yes, they're expensive, but they're only 20 milliliters, so they don't last forever. And I am starting to get into more ink swaps, which is a lot of fun. So it's fun to have all this ink that I can share with people. And I do share with my friends, and I, you know, like here in town where they live, I have a couple friends who actually like ink. Maybe not fountain pens, but they love ink because, you know, artists, or they like their Tom Studio pens. So I have been like, hey, don't buy that ink. Come see if I have it. Shop your friend for free. But yeah, anyway, sorry. That's just random. Yeah. So if you made it to the end of this, leave me a cat emoji because I'm feeling cats. I've been loving just drawing all sorts of different cats and animals and whatnot lately, just keeping myself busy and going through it. Hopefully we don't have to spend the whole week at the hospital like I did last week. And yeah, that's it. And I love this because now this is water. And then it does have a place where you can, you know, mix your palette, but this is water. And then this is a cup, so you can put your water in on the go, and boom. I love this. I just I don't love the Cotman watercolor all the time, so I just took it out. And now I have myself a little traveling thing. I have the other Cotman one, and that one's full of Cotman. Anyway, oh my goodness. I said leave me a cat emoji, and then now I need to go. Brain function. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.